It is so interesting of a concept because what you said is true. Everything inside of being a young entrepreneur is your mindset. Everything. Because where you lack in that 20-year experience you might have had in the industry, you need to make up for in your confidence and your trust and belief in yourself, your work ethic, and what you're actually capable of doing. So if you have the beliefs inside of your head that you don't know anything, you're too young, you aren't making anything that anybody actually wants, you can't sell whatever product you're creating or service, you don't know how to distribute it, the list goes on and on for anybody who's worked on a business before. But if you tell yourself the I can'ts, the I won'ts, I don't know how's 24/7, and granted, there's going to be times that happens. There's going to be things you just don't know and you need expert opinions for. You need to figure it out. You're going to fail a million times and you're going to get there. But if you use that framework inside of your mind 24/7 as the I can'ts, I won'ts, I don't know how's, that is going to destroy your business. Not because you weren't able to get sales, not because nobody didn't like what you're making. It's because you didn't have the confidence in yourself. And so I look back at some of these failed ventures I've talked to you about. I keep mentioning this Coda one just because I'm wearing the hat today. And at the time, my cousin and our other business partner and myself, we knew nothing about apparel. And we could have sat aside and we said, okay, we could have taken more design classes. We could have put in more time of researching other companies that were in kind of our same industry and grown from there. At the end of the day, it wasn't something any of us were super passionate about. So it kind of edged off. But if we wanted to continue it and actually grow it into something, we didn't put in the amount of work inside of our lives to make sure it could grow. And so I learned that lesson and I propelled it for the business I'm working on currently and the three others I've tried in between. But I guess the point I'm trying to make is there's going to be so many people telling you that it's not possible. Not all of them are going to be saying that just because they don't believe in you. Heck, most of the time it's going to be friends or family who are just scared for you and they want the best for you. And so they don't want you to go through this failure. Because as humans, we don't like failure. It's a scary thing. But if you can embrace the failure and not necessarily listen to I don't like calling them haters because most of the time they love you and they just want the best for you. But if you could put aside what they believe and listen to what you know is true and what you know you can actually get done, that's going to be the difference in your business, whether it succeeds or fails. And that's exactly what we've noticed when I'm working on Interval now. Every single day when we show up to the office, if we come in with an attitude of saying, I don't know how we're going to do X, Y, or Z, it takes a whole lot longer for that to get done. But if we come in with the attitude, me and my business partner, of saying, okay, this is what we need to get done and we're going to test X, Y, or Z, there's just something inside of our heads that makes us more enthralled to work that day, that gets us into the trenches, and time just ticks by so much faster. There's days when we're afraid to start a project, when we're afraid to see how it's going to work, when we're afraid to onboard a new customer. Those days, it seems like time is moving so slow. It's one tick of the clock at a time. But then, for example, a day like yesterday, we had a lot to get done. We were in our zone. We were excited about what we were working on. We look up the clock at one point and it's already 6:30, and we're like, "Oops, our wives are going to be mad at us tonight. We got to get home." And those days, those are the ones that fire us up. Those are the ones that make us excited. And it's just because we told ourselves inside of our head, we're going to get it done today.
Mm-hmm. I see often there's two types of people when it comes to sharing your dreams and goals and such, right? You have the people closest to you that want what's best for you, but may not necessarily know what that is, right? So they'll be worried and they'll tell you not to do it, but not because they don't want you to succeed or they don't want to see you happy. It's just that out of fear, they want you to take whatever the safest route is because they care, right? And then there's the other side where you have people that are a mirror reflection of themselves, right? They don't think they can do it, so they tell you that you can't do it, right? So you say, I want to build a 7-figure business, and then they'll say, oh, well, I couldn't do that. I mean, how could you do that, right? So it's almost like a mirror reflection that they're imposing on you because that's how they think. So I think that's pretty interesting. But what do you do on the days, right? Because I've had conversations with friends before, and I'll tell them, it's not about what you do on the good days. It's about what you do on the bad days, because my good day, I can work 10 hours. Your good day, you can work 10 hours. That's pretty equal. But when I have a bad day, if I work 1 hour and you work zero, that's where the wins start to stack up, the compound growth, right? Is regardless of the day, you're still getting something done and you're inching forward versus someone who has 3 bad days in a row. They got 0 hours of work done for 3 days versus someone who just did a little bit now has 3 or 4 more extra hours of work done. So, where I'm trying to get at is what do you do on the bad days that propel you forward regardless, right? Especially, let's say, limiting belief wise or just some thought process that you're just like, you know how it is. You have ups and downs, and especially entrepreneurship. Hell, even in the podcast, I've experienced ups and downs over the years for sure. It's like, what am I doing?
No, definitely. And if anyone ever tells anyone who's listening out there, if anyone ever tells you that they are 100% motivated 24/7, they'd never have a down day, they never have an off day, they're straight up lying to you. That's a false reality.
Yeah,
Um, I consider
yeah,
myself a strong
they're on
optimist. If you haven't
vacation.
got, yeah, exactly. I consider myself a strong optimist. If you haven't got that from
Mhm.
listening to my story so far, I'm a big believer in myself and the world around me. All my brothers and sisters here on this earth, I believe in them. Sometimes that's very naive. And so it can almost be to my downfall at certain points. Something goes wrong in a day and I wake up the next morning just feeling salty at
Mm.
the earth. I feel angry at people. I feel like I'm not doing what I should be for myself or my business or whatever it might be. Those days are hard to get out of bed. That's the reality of every human. Whether you're working on your own business, you're working for somebody else, those days are tough. And so, what I always have to remind myself on the days that are tough is if I could just start doing the little things and create that momentum, like you talked about, where everything starts from just getting going. If you could create momentum inside of your day, things would just start to work themselves out naturally. And it's very hard. Some days you're going to want to just sit in bed and
Yeah.
you're not going to want to do anything. Some days you're going to get to work and you're going to open up your laptop and you're going to want to do nothing. You're going to move your mouse around so it looks like you're working and you're going to get nothing done. Those days are going to destroy you. If you sit back and you just let that day take a hold of you, whatever reason why you woke up grumpy or angry at the world, if you let that control and own your entire day, it's going to propel you into the next day to do the exact same thing. And it's going to have that negative chain reaction. But on the contrary, if you could wake up those days when you really don't want to get out of bed, when you really don't want to go hit the workout, when you really don't want to go work on your business, when you really don't want to go have that tough conversation, if you could start with the baby steps that day and just slowly create the momentum, slowly but surely, by the end of the day, you're going to have at least something to look back and say, okay, I accomplished that. Granted, it might not be the same effort as you put into a normal day when you're super excited about your life and where everything's headed. You probably won't get as much done, and that's the reality of it. But if you could just create that momentum and get a little bit done, and when your head hits the pillow at night and set, you could tell yourself, I was able to get that done despite what I was going through in the morning. I promise you the next day you're going to be having another one of those good ones and you're going to be able to get more and more done.